present day woman, woman, woman in every way.
Welcome to Everyway Woman.
Yeah, I'm living my life, living day by day. Are you in every way, woman?
Live from Los Angeles, here's Everyway Woman.
Welcome to Everyway Woman. So let's start with a little open dialogue. Should women who are the boss at work allow their men to be the boss at home?
Well, sounds like you've been in my house.
Maybe.
And I only say that because when I first got married, I struggled with this because I was a manager, a boss, and I had a lot of people. And then I came home and I started bossing my husband around. And I was just really, And one day he told me, he said, you need to have a seat. He said, what you do over at the city of blah, blah, blah is there. But when you walk in this house, I'm the head of this house. Now, I know that's foreign for a lot of people, but he got my attention. Turn it off. You don't run anything up in here. We run it together.
So for you just step back and you let your man be the man of the house.
Yeah,
Yes.
You like that?
Yes, he is the man of the house.
I mean, I like a more traditional role, but if I were at work every day and I was the boss and I was constantly having to stress out on, stress levels are high when you're making decisions.
Right.
So if I came home and my man was like, hi honey, here's your dinner, I got laundry done, all the clothes are put away, and we're gonna go upstairs and make magic in 30, I'd be like, yes. So if I had the time and the energy, which we don't have the time and the energy to do all of those things, and if he has the time and the energy, if he's the one that's at home and needs to be in charge, then heck yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
iron,
right,
and then do what
it's
you
a
do.
partnership.
Well, you know what I find really interesting though is I think a lot of women let their men think they're the man of the house. Kind of the woman is the neck that turns the head.
That is correct.
If you will.
That is correct. We are the neck that turns the head. A
It's
neck
a
has
fine
no
art.
purpose without a head, and a head has no purpose without a neck. So you work in tandem. But I think what happens is, as women, sometimes, and I know we're gonna get emails and texts, so I'm sorry right now, we want chivalry, but then we wanna wear the pants. Pick a mood, balance it. Right? Balance it. You can't be telling, oh, baby, do this for me, and then I'll tell you what to do. It doesn't work that way. And women, let's stop fooling ourselves. Let's stop fooling ourselves. We're a partnership.
How do you see it? How do you see your household?
Because I've really tripped you up with that.
We know that you have your eyes on having a career.
Yes.
Again, I want the best of both worlds.
Yes,
I
you
am
do.
that classic, I want it all. I do want the career, I do want to be the boss at work. And it is nice to be able to, I would assume, come home and let somebody else make some of those decisions. But I can't imagine I would be able to turn it off and then just let somebody else step in.
Let me add to that a little bit.
Yes.
Now, you're out there dating right now, and you're looking for men who have jobs, who are successful,
who are
they're in
stable.
progressive careers where they are. So how do you see it if you're the boss and you're doing this and this and this, and he's the boss and he's doing this and this, and then he also wants to come home and take charge of the house?
I think you can let him take charge of the house Monday through Friday, right? And then girlfriend takes charge on Saturday and Sunday, and let him have a little break, and you can step in. I mean, can't you just share the role?
I think I left the wrong picture with you, because I'm not saying that you just stop at the door and you come home and you're docile. That's not what I'm saying. I'm an executive.
You don't surrender.
Well, I'm a manager at work, and I'm executive. I make very high-powered decisions. But in my home, he and I work together. I just don't come home and say, this is what we're gonna do. I will say that where I work. I don't have a time sometime to, this is what we're gonna do. But I don't bring that same spirit and same energy in my home. It's counterproductive.
Do you think that's helped the success of your marriage?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I was speaking with a woman, she's about 45 years old, and she had just got out of a relationship, starting to date again. And what she had said is, why can't I find a man who wants to take care of me? She wants to be this strong, independent person. And then she said, and she juxtaposed that with, I know women who are very successful, they date men that are very successful, she serves her man. She goes to the buffet line or whatever, the event, and puts his plate together and makes sure he has his drink and has all that. And she was like,
what's wrong with that?
Well, but see, her point of view I'm a strong, independent person, and I don't need to do that. But yet here she is. She's single and she can't find a man.
And Jasmine, to you, That is the key. I can give you the secret about staying
I
married.
am listening.
Men
Stacey.
want, my husband tells me and all his friends, men want 3 things. They want to know that they are valued in their home, that they want peace. They want peace at all costs, and that they want to know that you have their backs as their wife. If you do that, you'll have their purse, you'll have their wallet. There's nothing that they won't do for you with those 3 secrets.
I think you're right, Cece, because that's what she was missing. I think she was missing that, why do I have to serve him if I'm successful? He should serve me.
That's right.
Well, aren't you supposed to serve each other like I do to you as you do to me?
It's what works in your home. It's what works in your home. My husband rubs my feet. I rub his head. My husband likes hot dogs. He doesn't want a wife that necessarily slaves over a stove. He wants me to talk to him. My friend's husband, she has to have her food on the table. It's what works in your home. But as long as a man, and you give him some. So, right? You give him some, he has peace, he's valued, you will have a happy man. I'm telling you.
Don't let him walk out
Listen
with
to me,
ketchup on his
ladies.
face. It's good.
Any words of the wise from Madison?
I have to ditto.
Touche.
Ladies, I think I have a lot to learn from the 2 of you because I don't know what my household's going to look like in the future, but I'm hoping it's a peaceful, happy.
And give him some.
And give them some. We'll see you next.
Are you in every way woman? Are you in every way woman?
Welcome to Every Way Woman. So I'd like to start with a little game I call Shame or Fame. Ready, ladies?
Ready.
Let me break it down to you. Here's the story. Couple, together 3 years, get married. She decides she wants to have a baby. There's trouble with fertility. They now have to invest in further treatments. She's fertile, he is not, just to be clear. Now, in this, she finds out that he's $150,000 in debt. Surprise, she did not know. Immediately files for divorce. Shame or fame?
Fame.
Shame.
Fame.
Shame. Look at me, ladies in the audience. Shame. Shame on her for not doing her research. They were together 3 years before they got married. Shame on her. Shame on her for leaving her man when he needed her. Okay, times were difficult, but she left him. Shame, shame, shame.
Okay, wait.
No, fame. Okay, yeah, still together for 3 years. However, maybe that was not information that he disclosed to her. Now, if you give out information, you're like, oh, this is what you do, then you might think, yeah, the other person does that too. What is she then going to do?
He didn't lie about it. He didn't lie about
prevent-
it. He was just a little hush-hush.
She didn't ask the right questions. As women, we gotta ask the right question. We ask all kind of questions.
Yeah,
when we
Amanda,
breed dogs,
Amanda,
but when in a relationship, we don't ask questions.
Yeah, except
Seriously?
for this. That I knew someone who had met someone and married someone whose parents had made their car payments for the first year and a half, 2 years of their marriage, and didn't even know about it.
Okay.
Okay, so how is that? How was she not to know that he had made those? Who was making those car
In
payments?
her defense, and as a single woman, I want to know, ladies, how much do you have to disclose about your finances?
Everything.
I mean, do I have to air all my dirty Visa
Absolutely.
bills?
You
Because I
absolutely
don't
have
want
to air debt.
You have to air, absolutely. And
Yeah.
if my mate doesn't air it, in my excuse, I still have to ask the questions. Babe, love you. You're fine as ever. But how much money we gonna be in debt? Because it's our debt. Because he didn't tell me, and I didn't ask, I just leave him?
But maybe he didn't tell her. Maybe she might have asked him. We don't know if she asked those questions and he didn't tell her.
Okay, so are you
Maybe
concerned
they
that
were-
one lie can lead to another lie?
Absolutely.
That's
That's a little lie. That's not even a little lie.
No, but that's a very solid point, Stacey, that if he's not being honest about his finances, what else is he hiding?
But we don't know that he just didn't say anything and she didn't ask.
Well, okay,
What did he spend his money on?
hypothetically.
What did he spend his money on?
Frivolous things. We're talking
Okay.
watches, glasses,
irrelevant, ladies.
No, it's absolutely relevant.
No, it's
Yes, it is, because he spent his money on crap. He didn't even go in debt to buy a house.
Madison, if he spent it on a stripper or if he spent it on buying her a ring, it's irrelevant. The problem is at a difficult time in their relationship, she bailed out. And that's a shame.
Okay, so
but her
here's my
relationship
thing.
wasn't real.
Here's my thing.
That's
Okay,
the
so
thing. It wasn't even real to begin with.
in my opinion, it's a little bit of both, okay? Typical Gemini, me. I'm saying a little shame, a little fame. So,
Why is it shame and fame? Let me hear this.
in my opinion, good for her for standing up for herself. However,
Standing up for herself.
shame in the fact that maybe there was a few other alternative steps in the meantime before divorce to, maybe therapy or let's
really
create a budget
he
together.
He bought some watches and took himself to McDonald's.
Maybe it was a few presents for
$150,000
her.
worth. And they're gonna therapy.
Wait,
no
hold
way.
on.
I just don't
No
know.
way.
How did she stand up for herself by leaving her marriage when
Because-
some information came that she
because-
didn't like?
Well, she didn't want to waste any more time. She was ready to have a baby, to start a family. He was not able to do that, not only financially, but physically. So she moved on to find a different
being
man.
in debt is not a reason not to have kids. I mean, life
Right.
happens, and you want to have a family committed to it, that's great. But really what it is the man was a liar. He lied to her. And not giving full disclosure about your debt and about the way that you spend your money and what you spend it on. Now, if he had said he was $150,000 in debt because he had bought a house, yeah, shame on her.
Okay.
But it wasn't for a house. It was for frivolous things.
Here's the thing. In his defense, maybe he was afraid to say that to her. And
Then they didn't have a real relationship.
But I'm nervous.
They were together for 3 years and dated.
Okay, so how do you have that conversation, Stacey?
Well, then what are you doing with the 3
How
years
did you
that
know?
were
How
together?
did you have the
Here's Stacey.
conversation?
Hey, baby, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to take you out to dinner. This is $200. This is $500. This is, and she's thinking everything's okay. My man is taking care of me. I'm in a good place. I feel good about where we are. And then she finds out, oh my gosh, those $200-300 dinners that we could have done without to be $150,000.
Now I can't have a baby.
Ladies, a man, or not even say, a person can only keep up a farce for so long.
Right.
We're dismissing. They were together 3 years.
Okay, but
I'm
go
not
back
saying
to my
that he
question,
was right,
Stacey.
If he
but
spent- he was
she
over budget $50,000
also
a year.
did not pay attention. I'm
Okay,
not saying
no, she didn't
didn't
pay attention. No, but let's discuss the conversation she should have had with him. How do you broach that with your man? How do you look at someone you trust who's assuming financial responsibility
Yes.
and say,
Yes.
I question you, baby.
No.
Like, how,
no.
tell me
Drive
about your
No,
finances.
here's the conversation. Babe, are you marry me? Yes. Okay, before we get married, we need to talk about some things. 1, we need to talk about our debt. 2, we need to talk about your credit, our credit. 3, we need to talk about some HIV tests. You got to talk about
Yes,
all
I
things.
agree. I absolutely agree.
Yes.
I do.
You just can't say, oh, you're so fine, I
That-
love you. Let's go to the altar.
That's what I want to do.
Really? It's not
okay?
like that?
I would like it a little more easy than to have the interview my husband.
Okay, then you
Okay.
will be at the Waller. Shame to
yes,
leave
you
it
will
at
be
that.
there too. You will be there too.
More with Every Way Woman when we come back. Stay tuned.
No, that works. Let's just go get.
Are you in every way woman? Are you in every way woman?
The doctors are here from Finesse Plastic Surgery to talk to us about facelifts. Trust me, this is a conversation you don't want to miss.
Beauty is skin deep and aging is inevitable. But nowadays with technology, we have an array of options to choose from. We have Dr. Gown and Dr. West from Finesse Plastic Surgery to tell us what some of those options are and how to make wise choices, especially when it comes to facelifts. So, gentlemen, when does a person become a good candidate for a facelift?
There's no age that's too young. It's certainly when the patient comes in and says, you know what, looking in the mirror, I'm seeing features that weren't there before. The jowls start to sag, they start to get a little bit of excess skin and tissue in the neck, especially nowadays when we're working with technology, we're looking down, doing FaceTime with our telephones, we're leaning over, we're accentuating what gravity is doing to us.
So really what you're saying is technology is encouraging us to age.
For some, yes. For some, it creates the illusion of aging because gravity and pushing forward is going to bring features down.
Wow, okay.
So the idea is we want to reverse those effects. We want to give the patient a refreshed look. So when I talk to patients, I always tell them to imagine taking a mirror, looking at it, instead of looking down into your tablet, look straight up like this. This brings back gravity, plus add a little extra, and that's the desired look for what changes we want to encourage
So,
during facelift surgery.
Are you saying with technology that we're getting facelifts for generations that are younger now than they were maybe 10, 15 years ago?
I think people are certainly more aware of it with all the social media, with Facebook posts and Instagram, and all the people are sending a lot of photos of themselves, and then which means they're looking at a lot more photos of themselves. So in addition to seeing what they see in the mirror, you look at a photo and it's a really objective way of seeing the problems that you have in your face. So since our culture is going down that pathway of taking a lot more photos, sharing a lot more photos, people become, I think, a lot more self-aware of their aging features. And so they're coming to us and say, well, I hate the way I look on my Facebook post, or I hate the way this Instagram photos look. I think there's just a heightened awareness because we're photographing ourselves so much more.
Okay, so I have a question. Am I too young to have a facelift, or is now a good time?
It's never a question of too young. It's if you have features that are bothersome to you, we're going to give you the entire array of options of what's possible. So that doesn't mean automatically jumping to a facelift. We have an entire plethora of non-invasive techniques that we can use to try to avoid a more invasive surgery.
Okay.
And still turn back the time of the clock.
So you would suggest that instead of jumping into plastic surgery or a facelift, something that someone could do is step in and start preventative measures way beforehand.
I think that's a good way of thinking about it. I think that, to Mark's point, we don't have an algorithm or set of rules that says at 35 you need this, and at 45 you need this, and at 65 you need this. Our job is really to assess your face because people age at very different rates. We have people who develop a lot of skin laxity earlier in life and people who sort of hold on to some of their features a lot longer. So our priority is when a person comes in, number one is to get them to tell us what bothers them about their face. And then based on what their concerns are, we give them options. Some of those options might be surgical, but a lot of them are going to be non-surgical. And certainly starting off with non-surgical options is the easiest way somebody can sort of enter the plastic surgery world.
Okay, well, once someone makes the decision to have plastic surgery, how intense is the surgery itself and recovery time?
It really depends on the surgery that's performed. So if we're talking about minimally invasive procedures, these are things that can be done outpatient, same day, no downtime.
Oh, wow.
Then we go into the more moderate types of procedures, the mini facelift, the eyelid surgery, which are, I'd say, an intermediate recovery. And then a fuller facelift, brow lift, forehead lift is going to add a little bit longer time. And also there's the mix of procedures. If you add multiple procedures at one sitting, then the recovery is going to be a little bit longer. But these are not procedures that you have downtime of months and months and take weeks and weeks to recuperate. They're still very short protracted times.
What would you consider a short time for a really invasive surgery?
Well, we tend not to do anything really invasive.
Okay, all right.
But in terms of what's the most you can do in one sitting for facial rejuvenation, we're talking about a full facelift, a neck lift, upper and lower eyelid surgery, a brow lift, and fillers of some sort using your own tissues, whether it be some of the tissue we'd normally throw away or fat that we harvest from liposuction and then put back into strategically placed areas in the face to give back volume. Because volume is another thing that we miss as we age.
Yes.
Because the fat atrophies as well as skin thinning out and dropping down.
Okay, would that be extremely painful to recover from? Is that like
Not
a
at all.
1 week process, a 1 month process?
I think it's different for everybody. First of all, in terms of pain, no, our faceless patients don't tend to complain very much of pain. The first 24 hours aren't fun because you've been under anesthesia, so people often say, well, I didn't sleep very well that night. We have them sleep propped up with a bunch of pillows to keep their heads elevated to help with swelling, but pain isn't really a common concern. It's uncomfortable because your face is wrapped up and you often need some help, but it's not at all a painful surgery. In terms of the recovery time, I've had patients where you operate on a Monday and they go back to work that same week on a Friday, and then we have people for whom the recovery is more of a 2 to 3 week. The average person is more of a 2 to 3 week recovery.
2 to 3 week recovery.
And most of what we tell them is it's really social downtime. It's
Okay.
not that they're sitting around in pain, in bed, writhing around the floor, crying. It's that they're a little bit embarrassed to go out because they're a little bit black and blue, a little bit swollen. They'd rather stay indoors and take time to recover.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gowan. Thank you, Dr. West, for joining us. They are with us from Finesse Plastic Surgery, and you can check them out on their website.
Are you in every way woman? Are you in every way woman?
5 ways that exercise is like sex. Got your attention, right? Jeanette's here to explain. Is it what I think it is?
Well, I mean, it's really a technique because when I tell people I'm going to talk about exercise, they roll their eyes and they're like, oh, God. But when I say exercise is like sex, then they're like, oh, tell me more, right?
Yeah.
So what I mean is that your relationship with exercise, your relationship with your body is like sex and having a relationship with another person. So sometimes you have to move things around and change things up, right, to get it going.
Get a little spicy.
A little spicy, right. So for example, one thing is, you know, when your sex life needs a little jump start, maybe you're gonna go do it somewhere new, right? So you can do the same thing with exercise. Maybe if you usually exercise in the gym, you're gonna go exercise in the park. You know, maybe you'll do it somewhere public.
But I don't want to have sex in a park.
You don't have to have sex in the park.
I know what you mean.
But you can, you know, work out in the park, and that's acceptable.
Be a little bit more adventurous.
Be a little more adventurous,
I
right.
get it.
And that's another thing that you can do to spice up your exercise life, is to try something completely different. Right? So if you usually are a dancer or a walker, maybe you're gonna try surfing. Try something outrageous.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Surfing's fun, huh?
Does that mean having sex on a surfboard? I'm just kidding.
I don't even want to think about the logistics of having sex on a surfboard. But I think it would be interesting, and it would involve a lot of muscles, that's for sure.
Do something different. In
Right,
yeah.
right. Also, you know, it's very important who you exercise with, just like it's very important who you have sex with. And finding that exercise partner can really be a challenge. For example, you need somebody who has similar goals and desires as you if you're going to work out together. If you've got one person who's like, I want to run a marathon, and you've got another person like, I want to exercise 10 minutes and stop.
I get it. You're right.
You know?
Where do you go find them, though?
You have to, you know, the same place you find them.
I don't know.
You can find them like on Craigslist. You can find them at the YMCA, wherever. And then, you know, you also have to have the right equipment, you know? Okay. So, like, just like you need the right tools for the job, so everybody is safe and having a good time. You also need the right tools for exercise. You need the right clothes. You need the right stuff, the right
equipment.
bike,
I get it.
equipment.
I get it.
Yeah. But I think the most important way that exercise is like sex is that if you are not having fun, you are not doing it right. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. It should be fun. You know what? I don't have to tell people, you know, you should have sex 3 times a week. They're like, let's go. But when I tell people they should exercise, they're like, oh. But it should be fun.
But if you say it that way, oh yeah, let's exercise.
Yeah, they're like, let's go. Right now. We're ready.
I love it. What advice would you give anybody that's watching right now?
You know, I think it's important to think of exercise as something that you look forward to, as something, you know, you have sex because it feels good, you feel good afterwards, and it should be the same with exercise. You should exercise because it feels good and you feel great after you're done.
Well, somebody like me, what would you recommend for me? Not in the sex ways.
Yeah,
exercise ways.
I'm going to stick to my scope of expertise. You know, find something that you like. Find any kind of if you like to dance, pick something dancey. If you like to, you know, ride a bike, if you're adventurous and you like to be outside, maybe hiking. But think really hard about what feels fun to you and use that as your starting place.
So then the 5 ways to round them up?
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat them?
So you need to try a new place. You need to try a new activity. You need to do it with the right people. You need to have the right equipment, and you need to have fun.
Wow. I love it how you put it together, though, in a sense, because you got pretty much every guest out there's attention when everybody was so eager to find out what you were talking about. I love it because it got my attention. But obviously putting it together, it does make you, you know, look at it in that perspective and want to, oh, okay, it's easier, those 5 steps to exercise, right?
I think that is really my spirit of what I do and how I teach, is that if you begin from a place of joy and having a good time, people are going to stick with it and they'll have a great time. That's like with my DVD.
Right there.
Right there, The Fat Chick Works Out. It's all about having a good time.
I love it. Go check out her DVD, and we will be right back with Every Way Woman.
Every Way Woman gives back to the community. Go to everywaywoman.com to find out how you can match our donations of undergarments for needy kids. Thanks for getting to know Every Way Woman.
I'm an everyday woman, woman, woman in living day.